Uncertain. As I said, and did you start with the gratitude course? Oh, did you get? Okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to talk about that later about the gratitude crash course to know how you guys are doing. And also I have to add Gabrielle to the chat because she sent me her number. So we have to add her. All right. So today is present moment awareness, lesson 7, 8, and 9. It goes around 40 minutes. So hope you like it. Hope you have somewhere to take notes. And let me see. Remove the chat.
True forgiveness.
There you go.
All right. So, unforgiveness is you drinking the poison and waiting for the other person to die. I'm sure you've heard that before, but this is really so true. This is so true in our reality when we have hatred towards somebody else because we're living in a simulation, and that it's just an illusion. It's just an illusion that there's a separation or gap in between you and somebody else. So you hating somebody else in your own reality is essentially drinking the poison and waiting for that other person to die because we're all connected. There's only an illusion of separateness. There's no gap or separation within consciousness. So choosing to hold on to the mind created past where your mind believes someone, oh, let me fix this. There we go. Choosing to hold on to the mind created past where your mind believes someone did to you something that they shouldn't have done and then resent them and hold a grudge against them is just another way your mind makes you suffer. Remember, this is the ego too. The ego is what's doing this when you identify yourself with your brain or your ego. So it's just another trick that the ego pulls on you. And these are a lot of things that people get distracted with, or they get reactionary and they stay stuck in this stuff. And I see it all the time. And I'm guilty of this too sometimes, where my ego I'll get upset about something someone did to me and I just can't let it go. But then I catch myself and then I realize all of these things, you're drinking the poison. You're allowing this person to take mine in your space when you could be focusing on your success and your fulfillment, your vision of the future. So it's just another trick that the ego pulls on you. So remember that. And that also helps you break free from it, is knowing these secrets about the ego and that you are not your ego. You are not your brain. You are the observer. And you can change your thoughts. You can change what you're imagining. You can change what you're creating. And you have this right now in the present moment. So it's all up to you. So the result, this is the result. You mindlessly engage with the mental conversation about how someone hurt you. See, and this is when you start recreating this stuff to come into your life. You start recreating these things. So when you mindlessly engage with mental conversations about how someone hurt you, engaging with same emotions and recreating the unwanted past repeatedly. Remember, like subscribing to a YouTube video that you don't like. So when you react negatively to something in your world, or you have resentment or hatred towards someone, and you don't forgive someone in your life or let it go, then you're essentially subscribing to that channel. You're leaving a comment, you're hitting the thumbs up, and you're going to continue to get the same things coming into your life, very similar to those things. So you're staying in that reality, engaging with the same emotions, recreating the same things, the unwanted past repeatedly over and over and over, staying in that reality. Ultimately, not being able to focus on the other thing there is, the eternal now. And the eternal now is when you can make the changes. That's what's important about Eckhart Tolle and the way that he compliments, I believe, Neville Goddard, is because the present moment is the only moment that's real. That's when you can make true change and catch yourself and be like, wait a minute, I don't have to think this way. Or no, I don't have to react to this. Once you're present and you're aware right now, that's when the changes can happen. If you're not present, you're not in control of your thoughts. You're not in control of what you're imagining. It's all being created automatically from you not being in the now. So, but when you become in the now, that's when you can start having a vision of the future and observe and change your present reactions and the things that you are engaging with and creating into your life. So it is detrimental to your success in manifesting your new life is to be aware and present right now. So, but how do you go about forgiving someone when it is so hard? This is the question. This is the very important question here. How do you go about forgiving someone when it is so hard and this person was, it's such a traumatizing event? So true forgiveness lies in understanding that there is nothing to forgive. Let me read that again, and we're going to get into this. So true forgiveness lies in the understanding that there is nothing to forgive. When you rise above the egoic mind, you will realize that you don't get hurt in the first place. The only reason you feel like you got hurt is because your ego has convinced you that you're under attack, or that you're actually hurt, or that somebody's actually, intentionally did this or did that to you, and you need to seek revenge, or you need to hold on to this resentment, or you need to seek unforgiveness and not forgive this person or let it go. It was the ego that feels hurt. The ego, not you. You are not your ego. Do not attach yourself or associate or identify yourself with your ego, because it will destroy you. It doesn't care about you. The ego doesn't care about you, so do not identify with it. The only thing that these things have hurt was your ego, and you unconsciously identified with the ego. And that's the only reason. And that's why it's so important not to identify yourself with your brain or your ego. Because when that happens, then it has total control of you. Then you are no longer in control of what you're reacting to, because the ego is just a disaster. It's gonna constantly do that, and then at the end of the day, it's also going to kill its host, which is you. It's like a parasite, but you can use it for your own benefit in certain things. But you must understand that you are the observer of the ego, and you are controlling the ego. You are not identified as the ego. You're separate from the ego, and you can use it. Just like your brain, you use your brain for calculation, for strategically calculating, your life, your success, your abundance, your imagination. You use it, but you don't identify yourself with it. You are separate from it, okay? Because this is the internal world. All right? Let me see. All right, so nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. So key lies in staying present in the moment and observing the egoic mind. So meditation. And we're going to get into these exercises here in a second. Realizing you are not it. It's understanding that you were unconscious of your identification with the mind. And so was the other person. So see that where he talks about the mind now too? Identifying yourself with the brain. Once you realize that everything that was done to you to harm you was an act of unconsciousness, you then realize that there was nothing to forgive in the first place. It wasn't the person that did you harm. It was their ego that did you harm. It wasn't that person. It was the ego. It was their unconsciousness. They weren't awake when they did it. Or they're not real people. If you're not conscious and you're not present, you're not actually a real person. You're actually being controlled by the ego. And this is important to understand this. That's why there's nothing to forgive. Because if somebody had harmed you, it was because they were unconscious. They were asleep. They weren't in control. They weren't in control. So remember that. Remember that with all traumas and people that do harm to you. This is why, because it wasn't them, it was their ego. It was because they're unconscious. Their unconsciousness is why they did that. So, and then you can have peace about it. So once you understand this, it kind of releases the attachment to it. And that's like really the key of going over all this and really breaking things down, is that you understand that you don't have to be upset, because it wasn't that person that harmed you. It was their ego that did. And they were just unconscious when it happened. So that person really didn't harm you. So there's nothing to forgive, because who are you going after? A parasite. The ego. That's who you're going after. And there's no point. It's not real, okay? So there is nothing to judge. It's not them. They are not it. Really important. So lesson number 8, stilling the mind exercise. Number 1, make it your practice to withdraw attention from past and future whenever they are not needed. All right? So this is a really good, this is basically meditation, but the meditation is withdrawing your attention from the past and future and being present in the moment. And I do this a lot by writing stuff down. I find that becoming more present when I write everything down that I'm going to do, or like presently, like what's happening right now, like journaling, writing things down that I'm going to do throughout the day. It captures my attention in the present moment, like writing down as much as you possibly can. Because in that moment when you're writing it, you're very present. And the more that you do that, the more it establishes your present moment awareness. When you're writing things down, because when you're writing stuff, you're not thinking about really the past or the future. You're in the present while you're writing. And I noticed that creates a very still mind, like a very present mind in the now. And also, whenever you get an opportunity, like you're sitting in a room, or say you're in your office, or you're at home, or wherever you are, or you're just waiting for something, like you're waiting in line, even at the grocery store, or wherever you're waiting in line, wherever you are, you get a moment, start noticing things like in the room presently. Instead of thinking about the past or the future or what this person did to you, whatever it is, start noticing like the color of the walls, like the windows in the room, the ceiling, the way it looks, the lights, fixtures, the floor, what's around you, without your mind drifting to other things from the past. Like you're in the present when you're doing that. Just notice things around you, and that wakes you up, because now you're present in the moment, looking around you and seeing what's here. Like my desk, I'm looking at everything very specifically, counting this, counting that. What's the color of this, the color of that, the color of this? How many blinds do I have on my window? Like I'll count them, and I'll get like specific numbers, and like the corners of the rooms, like the texture on the wall, like everything about it. Like the door is open, the door is closed. Different things like this are very good practices for becoming present, because my mind is nowhere else but right now. And that trains your mind, for this development of creating a vision of your future. It really does help you with this, because the mind going back to this, the way that it should be, is thinking in the present moment instead of going into the past and recreating those things. But when you're focused on what's in front of you right now and the details of everything, you're present, and you're training your mind to be that way. That way you can start creating a vision of the future. And that's really the secret. All right. So if you find it hard to enter the now directly, here's some of Eckhart Tolle's examples here. Start by observing the habitual tendency of your mind to want to escape from the now. You will observe that the future is usually imagined as either better or worse than the present. If the imagined future is better, it gives you hope or pleasurable anticipation. See, this is thinking of, remember. If it is worse, it creates anxiety. Both are illusory. So both of them you're thinking of in both events. So it's one or the other. So you can start observing your mind and see what it's doing, because it's also creating, patterns for the future. Because if you're stuck on negative things from the past, you're automatically picturing things to be negative in the future. And that's why they're being recreated. So that's why this exercise is really important, just to see what's happening in your mind, see what's happening. So the moment you realize you are not present, you're present. This is another really cool part. Like right now, during this live event, you've all become present because we're discussing it. Because we're like, okay, so the moment you realize you're not present, you become present. Remember that too. So the key is not to engage with the mind as it guilt trips you in. Oh, I'm not present again. I'm so bad at this. That's the ego again. Remember, don't identify with that. The ego is very tricky. It's going to try to trick you to believe that you are it. It's going to try to get you to identify with it so it has control over you. It's the parasite within. All right, so just keep bringing your awareness back to the now and know that this voice or this thing that's trying to get you to stay stuck on traumas and negativity and reactionary processes, all that is the ego. It's the parasite, and it wants you to identify with it. That way it can have control, because it doesn't care whether you live or die. It doesn't. It only has one purpose, okay, by attaching to different things and keeping it. That's how it keeps itself alive, because it can't live in the now. The ego cannot live in the now. It has to be in the past or the future, mostly the past, like traumatic events, getting you all riled up over everything that's happened to you. And you're going to let this person do this to you? This person got over on you, so you need to, retaliate or revenge or have hatred or this, that. When it's captured your attention, thinking this way, you can't be. You're not in the present, because it can't live in the present. So it needs these things to keep itself in the past, to keep you attached to these things. Otherwise, it can't exist. It dies. The parasite dies in the present. All right. So remember that too. Number 2, the way out of the pain body. The only way out is to bring presence into the pain body. Do not judge it or analyze it. Simply watch it. Remember that. Do not judge or analyze. Simply watch it. Feel its presence, its energy field in your body. By observing it, you sever the link between it and your thinking. This was a big awakening for me, this part of it. By observing it, you sever the link between it and your thinking, thus preventing the unconscious identification. Because when you become the ego, you're automatically unconscious. Because remember, the ego cannot live in the present moment. And if you're identified with the ego, that means that you can't be present, because the ego can't be present. And you've identified with the ego. Remember that. So if you can stay present, then you have detached yourself from the ego. If you can stay present as it arises, you transform and reclaim your energy, which was trapped in the pain body. This requires deep acceptance and surrender to what is. Remember that the ego wants the pain body, wants you to be in pain, because that's what keeps it alive. It cannot live in the now. It can't be pain-free, because otherwise it would serve no purpose for its own life. It's a parasite. Remember that. And when you have attached or identified with the ego, that's when you lose your ability to focus. That's when you lose your ability really to create, in the present moment, like a new vision, shifting realities, different things like that. It hinders you from doing all that, changing your concept of yourself, because the ego's like, wait a minute. No, you're not changing who you are. Then you detach from me then. And because you have to be present in order to start having a new vision of the future and shift your concept of yourself and shift your states of consciousness. So then the ego's trying to get you back. All right, so do not only observe, focus. Do not only observe, but focus. As the time passes, you will get more and more present to the mind activity. You are intensely observing it, and it brings you back to the now. However, it is not enough. Other than observing it, and thus disengaging with it, the other way to keep the mind silent is through intense focus on the task at hand. And who does that remind you of? Neville Goddard. So, another way to eliminate the pain body, the ego, the parasite, is right here. The other way to keep this mind silent to release the ego is through intense focus on the task at hand, an intense focus of your vision of the future, your intense focus of visualizing from the end, living in your wish fulfilled. All right. So give it your full attention. Remember, so everything you do throughout the day, I started doing this too when I was in prison. I started like when I went to the chow hall, different things like that. I would make sure I was giving it my full attention. And that's why, like Christians, they have prayers they do. Like, thank you, God, for giving me this meal. And they go through this whole thing because it makes them present as they're, before they consume their food. They become present and they become grateful for the food that God has provided. So give it your full attention. Are you eating? Eat 100%. Don't scroll on the phone. All right. So when you're eating, focus on that alone. Don't watch Netflix while you're eating your honey buns, or don't eat honey buns at all. While you're eating your dinner, lunch, or breakfast, or snacks, or whatever. Don't scroll on your phone. Don't watch Netflix. Don't watch a movie. Focus on the food only. Focus on what you're doing, one thing at a time, because if you start watching movies or scrolling on your phone, you're gonna all of a sudden your whole meal's gone. You're like, wait a minute, I don't even remember eating it, because you weren't there. You were somewhere else. The ego had control of you. The ego was taking your mind over here, over there, scrolling on TikTok, watching this TV series. Before you know it, your whole meal's gone, and you're like, I didn't even enjoy that $100 meal I just ate. So brushing your teeth is another one. Feel the toothbrush and toothpaste on your teeth. Be very aware presently of every activity that you do throughout the day. Stop yourself. Every time you're doing something, stop yourself and be like, okay, I'm brushing my teeth. I'm not thinking about yesterday. I'm not thinking about this or that, or the parasite doesn't have control of me. I'm going to focus on the brushing of my teeth. So feel the toothbrush and toothpaste on your teeth. Remain present in all of the day's activities. Every activity that you do, you start practicing this, and it gets easier as you go. It gets easier as you go. But a big part of this, I believe, is eating. So many people have bad habits of eating because they're not present while they're eating, and they develop these habits and these comforts from eating. Like they put a meal together, and then they put their favorite TV show on, and then they eat, and then they get sucked into this comfort level. Like, this is the best time. Like, they love it, but they don't feel good afterwards. But it's like this trap that the ego, the parasite, leads you into. All right. And then you want to do that 5 times a day. Then it gets worse and worse and worse, and it sucks you in. Because remember, the ego, the parasite, doesn't care whether you live or die. This is what it feeds off of, is controlling you and destroying you. If you let it, if you identify with it, it can destroy you. All right. So remember this as you're doing all of your day's activities. All right. So the reverse attention exercise. The reverse attention exercise. This is who? Neville Goddard. Neville Goddard. We have this on the classroom too. The reverse attention exercise, reverse course. To aid in mastering the control of your attention, practice this exercise. This is very, very good for remembering, because listen, when I first did this exercise, I remember I was in prison when I did this first exercise. And there's not a whole lot going on in prison. I mean, there is a lot going on, but really not. You're not going to a lot of different places. So I remember you get up early in the morning, depending on who you are, but you exercise, you go to breakfast, then you usually have like a job. Like, I was a confinement orderly, a property orderly, a VP orderly, so I'd have a job that I went to, and then I would come back, and then I would eat again, then eat again, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then go to the rec yard, probably something like that, or the library, and that was pretty much it. All right. So the first exercise that I did, first night that I did this, I'm trying to replay that, and it should be relatively simple. It should be relatively simple. Okay, I see here. All right. But it wasn't for me. It absolutely was not simple for me at all. And it was very frustrating for me because, and the reason for that is because of my present moment awareness, is because the ego was still controlling me. It was still controlling, whether I was in the now or I was in the past or the future. So what happened was the following day when I woke up, when I realized that I couldn't really remember a lot of things and my mind was like drifting here, there, and everything. The first step that I took in the morning, I took my foot off my bunk or rack or whatever you want to call it. And I was very present. Then I took another step and I was present. Another step, present, brushed my teeth, very present. Then I had a conversation, very present. Then I went to eat, very present every time. So, because I'm like, okay, I got to remember this stuff. I got to remember everything I did today. So I have to be present during the day in order to remember that. Otherwise, you're like what we talked about, you're unconscious then. If you can't remember what you did throughout the day, that means that you were unconscious and you weren't in the now and the ego had control of you. You had identified with the ego and it's consuming you like a parasite. So if you can't remember, if you can't do this exercise with relative ease, then it means that you were unconscious throughout the day. That means that the ego, the parasite, had control over you for most of the day, and you weren't a real person. Just like we talked about the people that you need to forgive in your life, the people that have hurt you. They were unconscious when they hurt you. There's nothing to forgive. It wasn't them that did it. It was the ego. It was the parasite that was controlling them because they were not conscious. Because if they were conscious, they would be present and they wouldn't have done those things. All right? Because if you're conscious, there's nothing, you're not going to have harm in your mind. You're not going to have vengeance in your mind or anger in your mind or jealousy in your mind. It's impossible. If you're conscious, the ego, the parasite, is made all this stuff up. Jealousy, vengefulness, hatred, everything along those lines does not exist when you are conscious. The ego has created this illusion of these things. And when you're not conscious, you are consumed with these things. And that's when you were harmed. If you were, the trauma, anything that's happened to you from somebody else happened when the ego had control. It wasn't even them. They're not even the ones that did it. So who's there to forgive? So all we can do now is develop our own skills within this and try to share this with as many people as we possibly can, because that is the key. That's the key to overcoming this trauma, this hatred, this vengeance, this jealousy, this, that, and the other, and being unconscious. Find your consciousness. And this exercise I found was tremendous at me seeing how unconscious I actually was throughout the day. Because if I couldn't remember details of my day, that means, of course, I was unconscious. Because if you're conscious, you should be able to remember everything you did because you were present. But if you're not present, the ego has control of you and you can't remember it because it wasn't you. The ego was controlling everything you did. All right? The parasite, you were identified with the parasite. That's why you can't remember. So to aid in mastering the control of your attention, practice this exercise night after night. Just before you drift off to sleep, strive to hold your attention on the activities of the day in reverse order. Focus your attention on the last thing you did, that is getting into bed, and then moving it backwards in time over the events until you reach the very first event of the day, getting out of bed. This is no easy exercise, but just as specific exercises greatly help in developing specific muscles, this will greatly help in developing the muscle of your attention. And also, I found that this was a present moment awareness course. I know Neville Goddard labeled this as the muscle of your attention, which it does help with attention. But I believe more that it develops your present moment awareness, because you realize how unconscious and how you weren't aware of the present moment when you do the exercise. You're like, wait a minute, I can't even, who did I talk to today? What did I even talk to that person about? And you're trying to think about all this stuff, like as your eyes are closed and you're relaxed. Then the mind's wanting to go here, here, here. So you're, which is a part of the attention too, but you should be able to remember, and every step that you took, every conversation that you had, what meals you ate, how was the food placement, the conversations you had. Otherwise, the ego, the parasite had control of you. That's the bottom line. And it was very frustrating for me when I did this exercise, because I was really working on developing myself, and I discovered how far off I was with my own mind at that point. So I'm like, when I woke up in the morning, I put one foot down. I said, okay, I'm going to remember this. Put another foot down. I'm going to remember this. I'm going to remember this. I brush my teeth every time, every stroke of the toothbrush. I'm remembering this. This is happening right now. And I would tell myself this, everything that I'm doing. I'm eating. Before I eat, I'm looking at the placement of the food. Every bite that I take, I'm tasting it very slowly and being very present, putting it back down, tasting something else, drinking some. What does this taste like? You're drinking it very slowly. You're very present. And then you can remember everything. When you do that, you are actually a real person. And when you start doing this, time slows down. Because when the ego has control of you, you'll live 100 years and it'll feel like 10. But if you're present and you have control of your attention, and the ego and the parasite doesn't have control of you, and you're very conscious, 100 years is going to be like 1,000 years. It's going to be like 1,000 years. And that's why the Bible, I believe that it talked about people living to 1,000 years. How old they were is because they were very present. And the years were a lot different because of that. And I believe that that's the symbolic nature of the years in the Bible. Once you become very conscious and the ego doesn't have control of you, then you unlock all the power that you have, and your time on earth, or your time in this current life, is expanded, and it never ends. And I believe that there's a lot of different scripture in the Bible that communicates this. Everlasting life, present, disassociating yourself with the ego, the parasite, being very present in the moment. I believe that is a big part of it. And if you do this exercise, I'm sure a lot of you have done this exercise. Keep doing it. Do it again. If you stopped, do it again, because remember the importance of this when it comes to manifestation too. That's The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. Okay, so lesson number 9. All right, so this is the key to becoming fully present in the moment in the shortest time possible. Here we go. Understand that you are practicing nonstop. You are either practicing being present and aware of the mind, or practicing engaging with the mind activity. All right, let me read that again. This is really important. Understand that you are practicing nonstop at this. You are either practicing being present and aware of the mind, or practicing engaging with the mind activity. If you eat 1 carrot in the morning and a bunch of Big Macs the rest of the day, how can you expect to stay in shape and be healthy? This is because you can't make a decision in your life to change unless you're conscious. And remember, when you're attached to the ego, this is the big part where people stumble, where they can't make decisions. They can't make big changes in their life and say, I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to start working out every day. I'm going to start visualizing this every day. I want to create this new life. This is the stumbling block, is because if the ego, if the parasite has control of you, you are not conscious to where you can make decisions for yourself. So the first step is to become conscious and disidentify yourself with the parasite, with the ego. All right, because if you eat 1 carrot in the morning, when you're you're conscious in the morning, you're like, I'm gonna, excuse me, I'm gonna change. You say, I'm going to change. I'm conscious in the morning. You have something healthy to eat. And then all of a sudden the ego comes back in and you start, the ego takes control. It starts saying, what, this person did this to you, that person did this to you, what do you get, this happened. And then you're not present, and then you become unconscious in that moment of the parasite now gaining control over you again. Then you lose the decision in the present moment to continue with your diet plan. So that's why it's so important to do these exercises and to become present throughout the day. That way you can make the decisions and stay on your path. Stay on your path. Okay, so if you want to become present permanently, here we go, which is possible. You need to be the guard of the mind in every moment. The watchman at the gate, like we're covering in the Zoom mastermind. The watchman at the gate, the guard of the mind in every moment. You will find this incredibly difficult at first, but through time, it could be even exhausting. But through time, you will develop the skill. You will become automatic in developing these habits to be present, to be very present. However, persist, knowing that this is the only way out of the suffering imposed by the mind, by the ego, by the parasite. And doing these exercises throughout the day, I mean, the reverse exercise, if you just were to do the reverse exercise for 30 minutes a day, or if even 15, you would see dramatic results within a short period of time. Your life will be longer. You'll feel more fulfilled. You'll be happier. You'll be conscious. You'll be a real person where you can make real decisions and create the life of your dream. Because if you're not conscious, you're being controlled by the law of thought transmission through the ego. Because remember, the ego is the same for every being. There's no separation between the ego and everybody else. So when you're being controlled by the ego, you're being controlled by the law of thought transmission, and you can't make decisions because these thoughts are entering your mind and you're not consciously aware of them, and you're identifying with these thoughts as if they are originating from you, but they're not, because you're not conscious to make a decision and control yourself. And these are the things that make people's lives not worthwhile, not the way that they want them to be. And this is the sole reason for that. So doing these exercises every single day, even if it's only 10 minutes, is going to drastically change the greatness, the beauty of your life. But it's up to you. Like right now, you are present. Like there's been several times throughout this video or this live that you've become present. And in that moment, you can make a decision and you tell yourself, I'm going to do this. But what usually happens? What usually happens an hour from now after it's over? You kind of slip back into the old routines again because you've gone unconscious again. But as you start to do this every single day, you start to develop these new habits where you are now becoming more and more conscious and disidentified with the ego or the parasite, to where you can actually make decisions for yourself and start visualizing this. I'm going to make a decision to visualize this, my future. I'm going to make a decision to not do this anymore, to change my diet, to change this, to change that. All right. So start now. I know a lot of you are already doing this and are very present, but there's still a lot of work to be done, even including myself. All right. So, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him? Till 7 times 7. All right. So, Lord, symbolic nature of this. How often shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him? Till 7 times? Jesus saith unto him, I say not unto thee until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. Neville Goddard used this terminology or this symbolic nature of repeating the imaginal act over and over and over, but it's sort of the same thing because when you're visualizing your future, You see the vision of your future now in the present moment, thinking from it. You are now conscious because you're present. You're not thinking of it, because when you're thinking of something, what has control of you? The ego. When you're thinking of something, you're not in the present. So you're unconscious. But when you become conscious, you're now thinking from the event in the present moment. And that's what Neville Goddard was talking about. You're thinking from it. That now you're conscious. Now you can make a decision. Now you can make a decision that this is the being that you are now. Very present. Because when you're thinking of something, the ego has you. The parasite has you. You're not in the present moment. You're unconscious. But when you're thinking, imagining from something, and you're doing it 70 times 7, from it, you are conscious, and you keep bringing yourself back to this conscious moment of the vision of your future, to where you can make decisions, and shifting that state of consciousness now to this conscious being that's no longer identified with the ego. Even if we don't get into that, like with Neville Goddard, we don't get into the ego and how that all works. But that's why I think Eckhart Tolle and Neville Goddard complement each other so well. And if you master both of their teachings, you will be unstoppable. These two are the secret to really mastering the art of success and happiness, fulfillment, growth, everything that you could imagine, living a life of your dreams and leveling up. So that's why I wanted to bring in Eckhart Tolle too, because the power of now is thinking from the event, not of it, because once you're of it, then the parasite controls you. You are identified back with the ego. And then you're not present. You can't make decisions. You're not conscious. 70 times 7 is symbolic. It means infinity. How many times do we get back to the present moment until you become fully present at all times? All right, so Eckhart Tolle, symbolic nature of this is a little bit different, but I still understand what he's saying here. 70 times 7 is symbolic. It means infinity. How many times do you get back to the present moment until you become fully present at all times? As many as it takes. How many times do you visualize until, you visualize from an event until it happens? As many as it takes. As many as it takes. Stay present in the most menial tasks during the day. When you walk to the bathroom, when you wash your hands, when you dry them with a towel, every activity, start, presently catching yourself, catching. And that's why I like the leaf exercise, because it starts designing your mind to catch itself. And once you train the mind, once you do this through repetition, you train the mind, it's like you're training the animal of the mind, just like training a wild dog. Like if you were to get a stray dog and it wasn't trained, it lived on the street its whole life, it's going to be tearing stuff up in your house. It's going to be pooping everywhere. It's going to be knocking its food bowl over. It's going to be a mess. But if you start training the dog, you say, no, wait, sit, stay, heel, you come, all the basic commands. No, you don't do that. You know how to discipline it. You treat the dog. You learn how to train it over time. That dog's no longer going to be doing that stuff. And you're not going to have to continue to train it. It's going to be trained over time. After you develop your mind, it's the same way. You develop and train your mind to become present. All right? And you start doing these things, and your mind will become more present as you continue to do these things. So stay present in all the tasks throughout the day. When you walk to the bathroom, when you get off of this live, when you get in your car, when you go walk, when you talk with people, be very present. Turn activities that used to be means to the end itself, or into the end itself. Turn them off. So this is the fast track to being fully present. All right, so that's enough. We're going to get into 10 next time. So these are enough. I think we have enough to go off of now, but we'll do some.
All right, guys. So this was really, really enlightening. How do you guys like these exercises? I personally like everything, but the last part when David was asking how many times do I have to visualize until my wish is fulfilled, as many as it takes. So um, maybe sometimes you're not thinking about it, but that's something to have in mind. But okay, I would like to hear you guys. I see that there's many people here. So what do you guys think?
I found this very good. I always had a problem with the power of now, but David explained so very good how to do it, to be in the now. So I really enjoyed to see this again. And I understood very well, even long ago, you have to, if you want something and you visualize it, you have to visualize as long as it takes. Never give up.
That's right. Thank you, Krista. Who else wants to share something?
David was incredible in the different ways where you're catching your mind. This video was super thorough, right?
Can you say that again, Roger? Because I think your mic was cutting.
I said he was super thorough and detailed in this video.
Yes, it was. Who else wants to share something?
Yeah, so that last part where he mentioned you have to do it as many times as it takes. Like this kind of reminds me of like when Neville wanted to go to Barbados, and of course Abdullah just said, "Oh well, you're already in Barbados," you know. But of course, Neville was kind of like new to this stuff at the time, so he's like, "But I'm," he's like, "Well, I'm still here." And Abdullah just said, "You're in Barbados now. Just keep going to sleep as you're in Barbados, and until then, don't talk to me." He literally slammed the door in his face, and so, uh, and that's the thing. Like he had to like visualize for I don't know, like a few months. I don't know the full details, but he had to keep doing it. So that gives us perspective. Even like someone like Neville that's like, oh, he's really good. Oh, he's the master of the master. He had to like do that process himself for a while. And it's kind of like with the army. Like when he was in the army, he was there for 5 months or so, I think, until he got out. So yeah, that gives you like an idea that like, yeah, you can achieve that stuff. That stuff is possible, doable. But you gotta visualize it like as long as it takes, literally. Like don't you shouldn't get discouraged like, oh well, some things can come quick, some can come, take a while, or in between. Either way, just do it as long as it takes. Just don't give up on it.
Exactly. what you said, that Goddard wanted to go to Barbados and he went back to Abdullah. I'm still not in Barbados. And Goddard said, "You are in Barbados. You went first class, and now and he shut the door closed behind him. So this is very important for all of us. No, I don't have $1 million or euro yet. No, I don't have it yet. You will not get it this way. You have to be certain. It's already on your account and punta and over. No?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Who else wants to share something?
Yeah, James, I enjoyed this one as well. It was very good. It made me think of meditation. I've done meditation over quite a few years, and that very much gets you into present time as well. And I found the way that David was speaking, it reminded me of when I was meditating, because it puts you very much in present time. So I can very much identify with that from my meditation days. So yeah, I can quite easily come into alignment with that. And what he was saying was very true.
You, Terence. Thank you. So yeah, it was a really nice explanation. These 7, 8, and 9 on the um, present moment awareness, and yeah, it's part of the course. It was a life that we have, but it's always really enjoyable to have it in mind. So that's why I thought it was going to be a good idea to start, the Monday lives with this, because this is the basic. These are the basic, and sometimes we have to remember, even though um, many people here in the live, they are really knowledgeable about the law, but it's like when you read a book for the second and the third time, or when you watch a movie for the second and the third time, you catch new things every single time. So this was really enjoyable. So who else wants to share some thoughts or share something? I have a question for you guys. Um, how is your gratitude crash course challenge going? All right, guys. So I think we don't have any more questions as far as today. It was a really enjoyable live. I appreciate all of you guys. If anybody wants to say something, this is your time. If not, we're gonna finish the live, and um, we see each other on Wednesday. And as I was telling Terence and Krista, um, probably by that time we're gonna have all the links on the calendar, on the school calendar. I talked to Jacob, so that's gonna be something. Mm, you want?
Said great. So Jacobs is able to do that.
Yes, yeah. He was telling me to do it, but he made me a moderator. But as a moderator, I cannot do anything. I can see some stuff, but I cannot make an event. So I think the important part right here was making the events. But I get it, you know. I'm pretty sure David is the only one who can say who becomes an admin and who doesn't. So um, I'm happy that Jacob is taking us a little bit more serious because this is a real study group. And as Rajo was telling us the other day, David is happy with what we are doing. So yeah, we have to keep on doing it. So I appreciate you guys.
James, do you know if one of the admins have visited, have seen live? I mean, the recording?
No, not really. I don't think so.
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, but well, maybe when they're on the calendar, maybe they'll join. Who knows? But it seems that even though if we have it on the calendar, maybe I'll keep being the moderator. So you know, guys, if you're not nice with me, I will kick you. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But,
Yeah.
good things are coming, guys. Good things are coming, and I'm really pleased because we decided to start this. So now we're gonna have them on the calendar. So many others are going to join. For example, Katie, it's now here, and it's really nice to see more people coming every single week.
Yes, I always see new names, but the others don't come because they have to work. Hmm. That's a problem. Okay.
Yeah, guys.
You're doing a good job there, James. I think it'd be good if you let the admins do that. They can put those these lives up and put us in the group, and that'll be something that a lot more people can see. They can see what we're doing, and then based on that, maybe they'll join us, and we get a few more members if they can see what we're doing and what we're chatting about. So if you let the admins do that, I think that's a good idea, man.
Yeah, definitely. And like I was saying, I think maybe they're also happy because they have their lives, their things going on. So that's the only thing that we needed for them to support what we are doing because we're not doing anything wrong. So it's gonna be nice. Okay, my friends. Now, somebody else wants to share anything?
See you all on the next one.
So I see you, Rachel. So yeah, okay, guys. So see you on Wednesday.
See you
Okay,
on Wednesday. Thank you so much, James.
thank you, guys.
You're doing a great job.
Hey, man.
Absolutely. Okay.
Cheers, James.
I just
Ciao.
wanted to hop on here and really quick because I had to sneak and do this. I
Yeah.
usually can't say much because I'm at work, but I really enjoyed the information here, really helping me to stay present and stay focused with living in the end. And as far as the 7-day gratitude challenge goes, I'm on day 2. I didn't start Saturday, but yeah, this is the second day for me, and I'm really enjoying it. It's helping me just see things differently and not focus on negativity and focus on the things that are going well and have gone well for me. So yeah, that's it.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, my friends. I'm sorry, Krista. You want to say something?
No,
Okay.
I think it's had enough for today.
All right, my friends. So yeah, I'll see you on Wednesday. Wednesday is Book Wednesday. So feeling is the secret. I think it's the last 2 chapters. So I'll see you on Wednesday. Nice seeing you.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, bye to all. Bye, and thank you.